So we are here with Dani and TJ of Wildest Quarrel podcast. How y'all two doing?
Doing good.
Good.
How's everything?
Gucci. All things considered, I'm Gucci. I have to remind myself that things are not as bad as they seem. You get caught up in all the bad stuff, and then you realize, there's some good stuff happening so far. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And you kind of just have to hold on to that, because if not, you'll drive yourself a little wacky, a little nuts. Well, I mean, speaking of, everything that's happening, congrats on your 16 years of doing this. 16
So
years?
16 years of dating.
Dating, yeah.
Oh, it's a dating anniversary.
Yeah, so-
We've been married for 7,
Mm-hmm.
together for 16.
16.
Oh, yeah. And for the audience that doesn't know, what was that first date like?
It was right around my birthday. It was actually the day after my birthday. It was my 17th birthday, and I got stood up by a boy that asked me out. And TJ, who I had known for at least probably almost a year at that point, and we had kind of tried talking before, and that didn't really work out for a lot of reasons. But yeah, TJ offered to take me out, and we went to the movies and saw iRobot.
Yeah.
And then,
Good film.
yeah, yes. So we went to see iRobot, and we went to McDonald's, and then he took me home. We took me to my grandmother's house, and then the next day he met up with me again, and we went to a New York Liberty game, and then the rest was history.
Yeah.
That was all the way back in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
BC, because you got to say everything BC when you say the year.
Before COVID.
Yes.
In the good old days. But now,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, fast forward, you guys are still rocking out, and all that stuff. How has life been in quarantine for y'all, thus far? Because I know, life has changed a lot. You have to adjust to things, and especially with work and, Tatum, your daughter, how has that been as an experience?
For me, it's been an adjustment, but it's been okay because we moved at the top of quarantine, so right that weekend, pretty much everything was oh shit, shutting down. But thankfully, I think that was a blessing, because we moved into a much bigger space. So that means that we weren't on top of each other, which means we didn't kill each other, being that we were both working from home. It's been an adjustment sometimes with Tatum, because she kind of abruptly had to stop going to daycare, and we have not sent her back. And for me, sometimes I know I experience the mom guilt or parental guilt, because she wants to, she's 3, so she wants to be around friends, and she doesn't understand why. But we've got her enrolled in some virtual classes, and she's liking those. So all things considered, I think we've been doing okay and rocking and rolling with each other since quarantine. But rough patches here and there, but for the most part, this has proven that we don't get sick of each other like that.
Yeah, no, I could imagine. I know possibly most couples, married or otherwise, are enduring this new territory, and it's either they're ready to choke each other out, or it's just all right, this has probably been the best times ever, because we've gotten for the first time to be together all the time and probably learn something about each other. So for y'all, what has been something that y'all have learned? I think everyone has learned something throughout these past couple of months. But what's something that y'all learned about each other during this time?
Learned about each other.
Or yourself?
I would say that I learned that we are I feel like we've gotten closer, and it allowed us to really enjoy each other more. I've learned that I don't need much to be content, if that makes sense. I haven't really been out like that, but I'm okay with not being out like that. I've experienced enough stuff in my life that I'm not I don't have FOMO. I'm not missing out on anything. I understand, but I also understand the bigger picture, right? I'm a husband, I'm a father, and, you know, I don't want Tatum getting sick, and I don't want Dani to get sick. I don't want Dani's mother to get sick, who's elderly. I have elders in my family. So, you know, it's those aspects. So I see the bigger picture, and it's just like, you know, I have a lot of people I know who's like, oh my God, I just want to go outside, or oh my God, I just want to do this stuff. And it's just like, I get it, but there's other countries who's thriving right now because they shut down. We haven't, because we have no guidance, and we have no one telling us that this is what we have to do to survive. You know, we're so capitalistic, and we're so individualist, individual.
Holistic.
Yeah, okay. I didn't want to say the wrong word.
You got it right.
All right, individualistic. That, you know, we think about ourselves, and we don't. You know what I mean? We could have shut down for 2 months or whatever and been back, but instead we didn't shut down, and we may never come out of this. Or, you know, mask may be the new norm. So, you know, I'm learning that, you know, I have a lot of patience. I'm learning that, and again, I'm still working on that, but I'm learning a lot more about myself, I would say. I did a lot of rambling right there, but.
It's all good. We get what you're saying. Picking up what you're putting down. I'd say I learned about TJ. I've learned that he is like not, he doesn't really want for much. I'll say that as well. Like, you know, he hasn't been one to like complain or be like grumpy about this stuff. But you know, and I guess I would say me too a little bit. I also know that like we're fortunate and blessed enough to have each other and have a family and have jobs, and so like a lot of things that some people in the world are like stressing about right now, plus like, or like we're not by ourselves, right? Because there's some people who are like super isolated because of this, and because they're, you know, adhering to like social distancing and quarantining, that it can be a lot more difficult for them. So, you know, we've got that benefit of having like our own little bubble of family that we've been able to socialize with. And what I've learned about myself is that now more than ever, because of like working from home, is super important to like set certain boundaries with like people, you know, because people at work be sending emails at 11:30 at night and then at 5:30 in the morning, and it's like, because I mean, and I get why, and it's because like you're like, I'm home, I'm right here, I'm not going anywhere, I don't have to commute, but kind of that work from home thing, especially so abruptly, is like has really been just like a thing of it's harder to shut off, like to kind of like differentiate between like work and home. Right. So that part has been something for myself that I've been trying to kind of be mindful of, because that way, you know, when I'm present with my family, I'm present with my family. When I'm present at work, I'm present at work. Doesn't always work out that way, because sometimes I'm reading emails in the bed, and other times when I'm supposed to be working, I'm fixing, you know, grilled cheese sandwiches for Tatum. So, you know, it all ends up working out though.
Right. No, that's dope. Yeah. I mean, it's all about a routine, and that's something I had to learn the hard way. Mm-hmm. Like before, like in the beginning, I was just like, quarantine, cool, whatever, I'm home. I'll wake up whenever. I work from home, so I'm just like, all right, I'll probably, you know, roll out of bed the last 2 minutes before I have to like get to work, and I thought that was cool. And then it was just like, nah, I can't maintain this. Like it just wasn't working out. And I just went through a whole bunch of motions like from March until now. And I think now I'm at the point where I accept the fact that this is going to be basically it for a while. And now I'm just trying to get accustomed to like what's next. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for me, that's really just been the focus on, all right, now I'm in the space, you know, I'm blessed to like, I have the opportunity to work from home, and my family's safe, like all these things. Now what? You know, because I mean, I had plans, like I'm pretty sure y'all have had plans for this year too, before everything kind of went wild. You know, I had plans to like either, you know, kind of pick up my videography, you know, business on my own a little bit more. And I was hopefully eventually going to try to transition out of my job, but then plot twist, here we are, you know, and I had a whole bunch of other things going on, but then it just kind of came down to the part where it's like, all right, for the sake of security, like, you know, obviously keeping my job is one thing, but then on top of that, kind of getting used to it. So yeah, it's been a lot of adjusting for sure. At least for me and just my day to day. But I know that recently y'all shared on y'all socials kind of like your fitness journey as well, which is really dope.
Mm-hmm.
And
thank you.
I'm wondering how has that been affected by COVID? Like, do you feel like more active, less active, like kind of just maintaining it? Like, how do you guys maintain that level of consistency?
Well, TJ, I feel like has been just thriving. I've had a little bit more struggle since quarantine started. I was a teacher, and I was teaching middle school, and now I'm still in education, but now I work for the school district as opposed to working just in a particular classroom. And again, and the first day of my new job was the same day schools closed, March 16th. Wow. So I've never set foot in the district headquarters, in my new capacity or anything like that. So, even on a light day teaching middle school in a building, I was walking around, I was moving, I was, going. So the weight was consistently just dropping off without me having to try. Since we've been home now, granted, since I had the weight loss surgery, I have I'm definitely I have not gained as much weight as I would have before the surgery, because this time we've been home, I would have ballooned even more. I know I would have, because I just would have been eating everything in sight. Yeah. But now with being home, it's the weight loss has slowed a little bit, but I've also not it'll be I've put on 3-4 pounds, and then I'll lose 3-4 pounds again, and I'll kind of even out where before, and like I said, if this was this time last year, if Corona happened last year, it would have been 20-30 pounds I probably would have gained. And so I'm very grateful that I had the surgery when I did, because now it's helped me just severely curb and stave off kind of the sedentary lifestyle I've kind of had. But once things get back into my routine kind of gets back to that big thing of that, and when I can go for walks again in the morning, because we're still handling some other business. So once I can kind of get that back in, I feel confident that I can kind of get back on the weight continuously going down. But I'll let you speak to your
Well, I haven't got a chance to really work out. I'm too busy with work and life, so but since the surgery, I can't eat as much, and I'm not going to force myself to eat as much. And I've never really been a foodie, so yeah. Food is cool, but it's not, what I mean? I've always been a drinker, so I would drink, or I would snack, but I didn't really eat a lot of food. I wasn't eating food just because it was there. So, but in quarantine, it's kind of the gift and the curse, right? Because I thought because I'm home, I'll have more time to do things, but I'm more busy at work than I've ever been. And then by the time I'm off, then I got to become daddy. If Tatum wants me today, and if she doesn't, then, or I'm just so tired, so I haven't really gotten a chance to really work out the way I would like to, but I haven't really gained as much weight or anything since quarantine, so.
Yeah, he's been steadily losing. Mm-hmm. So he's at the point pretty much where he's been told to stop.
Chill out.
You good. You're doing too much.
But yeah, it's interesting how even with everything happening, TJ, you still have your lives are still going. You know what I mean? You said at work, obviously being a parent does not turn off. You know what I mean? If anything, it's probably ramped up because you have more attention to Tatum 24/7 now. Because you're all home for the most part when you are home. So at least, I guess in that regard, you have a little bit of normalcy, how things used to be. But as I said, it's just that adjustment of,
I would say, yeah, no. My normalcy is my family, so it has nothing to do with what situation we're in. For me, right? As long as I'm with my family, then it's normal. To kind of go back to the question you had earlier about what have I noticed or learned. I've learned that I'm good. And Dani kind of touched it earlier. Shit can be a lot worse, right? We still have our jobs, we have our family, we have our house. Shit can be a lot worse. And even those who don't, let's say if someone lost their job, but they're getting unemployment or whatever. shit can be worse. It's like we can be outside homeless going through a pandemic. You know what I mean? And I think that that's the major thing that people need to start doing. Count your blessings, right? Nothing's perfect, don't get me wrong, right? But don't lump a bad situation in your life to your whole life. Like, just because work sucks doesn't mean that your life sucks. And I feel like, and I'm guilty of it too, right? I used to do this, but I've learned to start isolating things. You know what I mean? And then also start looking at the things. Because, yeah, my day at work could have sucked. But what about that homeless person who's sleeping on that park bench, you know? Or that person who passed away, or that person who, you know what I mean? Like, things can just always be worse. So, like, just how, you know, you can look at someone else's life and be like, oh my God, their life is amazing. I wish I had that. There's someone else who's looking at your life saying, I wish I could have your life. So.
Word. That is actually a very good point, because I've been going through some notions of just like, oh, like as I was saying before, like what now, what next? I just feel not really stuck, because I mean, I used to be out and about a lot before quarantine as well. And now I've gotten accustomed to just like being in my own space, doing my own thing. And especially now with the podcast is giving me just like a level of like motivation and energy to work on that and stuff like that. But sometimes I get into my bouts of like, man, you know, I wish I was a little bit more active with like my video work, for example. Like with quarantine, you know, my personal video like business has kind of declined because not much people have been needing that. You know, it's not really a necessity. It's not really you know, so it's been kind of tough outside of like work, which is pretty simple. I mean, I sit here, I edit videos on my computer for all day long, and if not, I'm bullshitting. So I'm really fortunate to be able to BS and still do my job at the same time. But then there'll be days where like I don't step out the house for days in and out, and I have to like get some air. And sometimes I forget, like outside is like the skies aren't poisonous. You know, like I said, go outside and like take a walk or ride my bike or do something active without like being in the mix. But sometimes I just get caught up in my head and realize that, oh, okay, there is ways that I can still be active and be aware of myself, or at least take care of myself without it being like inside 24/7, no escape, you know? I think a lot of people need to remember that too, yeah.
And you got to give yourself grace. You're going to have days, right? You're allowed to have days of being upset or depressed or whatever, but you just don't need to let it linger in, right? That would always be my advice. Like, yeah, we got to start giving everybody the grace to kind of go through their emotions and respect their emotions, but also, you know, don't try to minimize how they're feeling, but also trying to make sure that, you know, you give them the bigger picture. You know, again, you do videos. So in your job, you're still able to do videos. You're just not able to do the personal videos that you want to do. So you're still sharpening your skills. You know what I mean? And then, you know, maybe you could challenge yourself, right? Maybe you could create videos for people who might need it, or someone's throwing a birthday party. Hey, I can do it for you at a special. But then now you're able to just advance yourself, because again, you're right. A lot of people's kind of learning how to do their own things, or they're learning. You know, honestly, this is just showing you that we can do stuff minimal. We don't have to go as big and crazy as we've done it. You know what I mean? We can do things smaller scales, or we could do things in steps or in phases and still have the outcomes that we want. Right. So.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point. And I've learned that a lot too. Like even outside of, you know, working from home, I have been picking up different things to just learn. And at this point I'm able to take risk. You know what I mean? I think before it was kind of like you're caught up in life and you're busy and you're not really thinking about the thing I've always wanted to do. And now you possibly have the opportunity to kind of tackle that thing because there's a little bit more time, you know, in place. So I think that's a blessing that a lot of people have been picking up new skills. I know friends of mine are going back to school and doing all these dope things. And it's just really good to see that people have the opportunity now more than ever to kind of dive into the stuff that they weren't able to before, you know, because life was so encompassing with so much stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like the blessing.
Yeah, because it forces you to have to put a lot of things, like either the things that you can't do because we're not permitted to do so anymore, depending on where we are in the world or in the country. And then also too, like, if you value like your health and you're being conscious and aware of like what you're doing, then that also eliminates things that you are not going to do or participate in. And then on top of that, then you realize like, oh, I can go without a lot of things, and then it allows you to kind of like TJ's point, like to focus on the things that matter most, to focus on the things that you've been ignoring or putting by the wayside. Now it's just like, well, I don't have anything else to distract me, so now I am gonna focus on these things that I either haven't wanted to get to or haven't had the time to get to. So, for some people, if all your bases are covered as far as the big things on your like hierarchy of needs, you're safe, you're taken care of, you got a job, you got your health, then yeah, you do have the ability sometimes to focus on and hone in on things that you otherwise would not have had time, energy, or space to do. So, that's sometimes the silver lining to some of the cruddy shit that we're going through right now.
1,000%. Speaking of cruddy shit, I'm curious. According to you two, like, what has been the wildest, and it could be good or bad or just like what the fuck? Like, what has been the wildest story of 2020 thus far that you could just like at the top of your head?
Where do we begin?
I mean, it's been a whole bunch. I mean, I think the outing of all these like socialites, I guess, or was that what you would call them? Social event people who was like doing nasty work, that Kobe Bryant. And it's 2020.
It was like forever ago, but that was still this year.
Like forever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think
the George Floyd thing, not a thing, but George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, COVID itself. I think, if COVID doesn't happen, we don't have the movement that we have right now. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And, it forced everyone to have to sit down and look at it repeatedly.
No distractions again.
Yeah. It wasn't like, you had to get up and go to work in the morning. Nah. When you got up in the morning, you were working from home and CNN was on and it was on everything and social media. So I think that, the revolution was able to happen due to COVID, because it just showed us that even during a pandemic, Black people aren't safe.
Mm-hmm. And I think, this whole election year, in politics in general, but we've got a narcissistic sociopath in office running for re-election, and who's basically who's vocally trying to steal the election, trying to undermine the postal system.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've also got a bipolar manic rapper who's trying to steal votes away with Kanye. And during a pandemic, if this wasn't actually reality, I would be like, this is a terrible fucking movie plot. This is not even believable. This is not realistic. But this is our reality. I feel like that's one of the biggest, what the fuck moments of 2020, if I could ever name one. And I'm my stomach's still in knots when I think about November, because this man has got to go. There's a chance that he may not, because there's just enough people who are gonna vote for him, are not gonna vote at all, and because they're disillusioned with politics, and who are gonna vote for Kanye's stupid ass. And I'm just sitting here if you think it's bad now, what happens when he got nothing to lose, when he don't even have to worry about re-election? Right. And even then, you're still talking about if people are doing mail-in ballots more now than they ever have before. We may not even have the results the same night we normally have known to be. So now we gotta wait.
Honestly,
and if he loses, I don't think even if Trump loses, I don't think he's going to go out. He's not going to go out without a fight. He's going to you're going to have to drag him kicking and screaming out the fucking White House.
To me, I think that's the biggest thing. We're in 2020 and people are still talking about they don't know who they're going to vote for. And it's you've seen what Trump did. And, it's crazy to me that people are really trying to say their vote is so important that they can't make this vote, or they don't want to choose the lesser of two evils. But it's just at the end of the day, this is how our government is how it's been. And this is probably our most crucial election we've ever had.
It is.
So the fact that we are even contemplating how you're going to vote or why you're going to vote. It's crazy to me. And I'm not going to tell people how they can or can't vote, but the fact that I know people who's like, well, I don't want to vote for Biden, but I also don't believe in Trump. So who are you going to vote for? You got to vote for one of them, right? And to me, it's just stupid. So yeah, that's probably the wildest thing, that we're in 2020. We've had 4 years of Donald Trump as a president, which should have never happened, but it happened because people didn't vote, or people were voting for Harambe and stuff like that. So we've seen that, right? And it's just like, do we learn from our lessons, or do we just continue going down the path of hell? We're in the situation we're in now because of Donald Trump.
Bro, yeah, big facts. Yeah. I mean, it's not gotten better because of it. That's for sure. Yeah, the response and everything else. And yeah, as I tell people a lot, is just like, this is kind of like, whatever season of Earth happened, that got canceled. And now this new season is just a lot going on. So people just have to get used to this new normal. And however the election goes and however it's going to go, like, we just got to do our best to kind of like keep our eyes on the prize. Like, as long as your fam is good, everything, at least, when it comes to just the resources and things around you are safe, that's the best you can do. Like, you can only control the things that you have to control, and everything outside of that, you have to just let it go and kind of just release from yourself and realize, I have this space, and I have my people, and I have everything around me that is here for me, and this is the stuff that I can manage, and everything outside of that, just let it be. Like, and that's the only way you're gonna keep your mental these days, for me, at least. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
You got to protect your peace at all costs sometimes, but don't put your head, like, it's a balance, right? We got to protect our peace. We got to make sure that we're not like, because it's you can send you down a spiral of an anxiety attack for the gods, but so you got to do that. But then you also you can't be living under a rock. You can't put your head in the sand and ignore what's going on in the world either. You got to do your part, right? And that's just the balance that we all got to strike right now. But it'll always be fuck Donald Trump for life. I hate his guts. And
that's too much energy. It is.
I mean, it doesn't. No, it's not. It's not even. That's to me. That for me anyway. That's not too much energy, because
I'm saying, for you, but for me, that's too much energy. For me to say I hate somebody and fuck them for life, it's too much.
When it's like, well, see, when I feel like I don't have to, like, the receipts are there. There's nothing for me to have to like go back and forth with anybody about, because it's all there. Yeah,
but the fact that you just took whatever seconds to say that, like, that's time you don't get back. So to me, it's just too much time.
I'm worth.
We can all. We can all agree that we are displeased with our current president. I think we can all just land on that one.
We definitely can. So yeah.
1,000%. But let's end this off on a brighter note, because that can't be the last word.
Exactly.
But speaking of words, I wanted to introduce a quick little challenge for you both. So I know on your podcast, you two usually have like a word for the episode, and you guys are capable of like spelling that challenge. So I have 2 words for each of you. One word for you, Dan, one word for you, TJ.
Okay.
And I figured I'd challenge y'all at your own challenge, because, why not? Okay, so for you, Dani, I have the word scrupulous.
Okay.
I don't know if I had that word before.
But she knows how to spell it. Just spell it. Just go ahead.
Yeah, because listen,
just spell
now
it. You don't have to preface. Just spell it.
Scrupulous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. SCRUPULOUS.
Ah, you got it.
Hey, I had to be sure.
Put an O in there somewhere. Like,
sometimes you just got to sound it out.
Let's see what this word is for me, because.
No, for you, this word should probably be on brand for you, TJ. But the word is braggadocio.
What?
Braggadocio.
Braggadocio.
A little braggadocious.
Braggadocio. Is it braggadocio?
Braggadocio.
Braggadocio.
I'm definitely not going to spell that. Braggadocio. B-R-A-G-D-O. No. B-R-A-G. Braggadocio. Yeah.
Hey, you got the brag right. All right. Like, that's the most important part of the word.
That's all you brag.
Is it 2 G's?
It's 2 G's. Yeah. It's
Go ahead, spell it.
It's B-R-A-G-G.
Wait. Go ahead, Dani.
I'm not sure how to say it.
Go ahead.
B-R-A-G-G. Bragga. A-D-O-C-I-O.
She got it. That's 2 for 2. That's 2 for 2. And that's, I mean, I don't think I would have been able to spell that word like off the dome. Maybe not. I don't know. I've been able to spell bee in English.
I don't have it in my vocabulary, so yeah.
You are a little braggadocious when you want to be.
I'm braggadocious?
When you sometimes about when you talk your shit. That's kind of what it means.
I'm super humble all the time.
You are humble, except when you're not.
Okay. Anyway.
There's balance. I'm pretty sure there's a balance there.
Thank you.
Talk your shit, but you know, you gotta brag it once in a while to keep people knowing what time it is. You know? You can't be called.
Trust me, I'm never bragging about my vocabulary. So.
Sure enough. All right. So I mean, we've been talking a lot about the year, but I've been curious, and I've been asking a lot of people lately, like, what are your goals for the rest of the year? Like, if you have any goals or anything set up before the year's end, because despite everything happening, you know, we are still people and we still have things that we're aspiring to. So real quick, like, what are y'all goals for the rest of the year?
Stay healthy and safe. Spend time and make memories. That's it. I'm really basic, so.
Oh, no, simple.
Simple, yeah, not basic. But
basic doesn't mean it doesn't have to be something bad.
Okay.
Sure.
For me, I would say I want to lose the last 15 pounds that I need to lose. Continue to, you know, set up shop in our new house. That's another big goal for me. And, you know, just continue to try and be the best, you know, person, wife, mom, friend, sister, daughter that I can be. Like, just trying to do right by myself and by others.
Well, from what I can tell, y'all doing a fine job. So
Thank
y'all
you.
on point, y'all color coordinating, y'all matching, like y'all in sync. Y'all definitely in sync. So there's no problems there. So yeah, thank y'all. Really appreciate y'all time. This was dope to catch up.
Thank you. We know we love anytime for y'all.
Of course, yeah. It's been a while. A lot of changes on this end. Believe me, a lot of changes. But you know, it's dope that we can still get to talk and you know, all that stuff. So I'm just happy that you know. Y'all here, y'all still doing y'all thing. You, the fam, everyone is fine. The podcast is doing well. I've been listening to, so you know.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We keep it pushing regardless. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
That's all you can do.
Right,
no complaints.
Yeah, tell everybody where we can find y'all on the lines and all that.
Go ahead, Dani.
All right. So, you know, we are Lovers Quarrel. So you can find us on any streaming platform where podcasts are played. And you can follow us on Instagram at Lovers Quarrel Show. You can follow us on Twitter at Lovers Quarrel 7. And you can email us any questions, concerns, headaches, heartaches, commentary at loversquarrelshow@gmail.com. You know, everybody just make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow, tag, do all of the social media things. And
make sure y'all stay safe out there.
Exactly. Take care of yourself.
Word. Stay safe. That's the #1 answer on the board. like I know I'm doing my best to keep safe. You know, as I said, not much places to go these days, so I'm just chilling in the crib. Family's fine. Everyone's good around me, and that's all you can ask for, as y'all said before. So.
Dope.
Exactly.
We're gonna make it to the end. Like we're gonna see 2020.
We're gonna make it.
We gonna make it.
We gotta survive or thrive, either or.
Word. Big facts. All right. Well, yes. Once again, thank you all so much. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll definitely talk again. We'll definitely chop it up.